Volunteer soldiering has been a part of Belize's military from as far back as that history was recorded. The idea was to have these part-time soldiers serve as a support unit for the regular force in times of emergency. But the road traveled has not always been a smooth one. Throughout its years of existence, the volunteer service has been dismantled several times. Now this latest formation, an integral part of the BDF, has been in operation since 1947. Every year since that time, the Belize Volunteer Guard, later to become the Belize Defense Force in 1978, has been able to recruit young men and women who, despite having full-time careers, also experience the perils of public service.
Where we are looking for people who are loyal to Belize, who want to be sincere and who want to get military training for a good purpose. And we're looking for people who have completed at least primary school education, especially where I come from the south. You know, it's kind of, we don't have many secondary schools and many of our young people don't get that golden opportunity. So it has been proven that some of our primary school graduates have all the talents needed to come and be a very good soldier in the Belize Defense Force, and this has been proven within the males and within the female population.
Because I enjoy it now and again. Not something I do every time, just now and again. I enjoy being out here sometime and attack where we dig trench and go on the defensive side.
Well, I find it very interesting, you know. I like the education I get here, you know, the knowledge about maps. You know, you learn a lot about maps, about the military stuff, you know, survival in the jungle, stuff like that. I like the experience.
To receive that experience for 2 weeks each year, the volunteers leave jobs and families to participate in battle camp at Balderbeacon in the Mountain Pine Ridge. Once at camp, they strive against time and sometimes low morale.
Their training consists of 2 hours, 2 nights a week, a training weekend a month. There's also a weekend for the senior NCOs and officers. And we cram everything. You must remember that we are constantly training throughout the year. So eventually we do catch up with them. The thing to also get them to realize is that they can drive their bodies harder than they normally think. And so sometimes we ask for adverse weather, hope for adverse weather so that they can show them that they can survive it.
What is the reception like from their full-time employers to give them this time off for them to be out here?
It's mixed. Some are quite willing and let them go, and like I said, to those thanks, some just don't let them go. We have to understand that if they're going to lose their job, we kind of have to accept that maybe they better stay away from camp. That happened to some this year.
Despite these minor setbacks, this year's camp got underway right on schedule. The first few days of battle featured blank ammunition, but that was only preparation for the live firing exercise. The sound of the first gunshot signaled that Delta Company was under enemy attack. The mission was now to defend themselves.
Number 1 and number 2 rifleman, fire!
While these recruits battled an imaginary enemy from across the border, those of Bravo Company were taking lessons in the less glamorous task of internal security. The soldiers, dressed in fatigues and carrying protective gear, fought off an angry mob of rioters.
It comprises of riot, internal security, and VCPs, that's vehicle checkpoints, along with crowd and search. If it happens that there is an unusual situation downtown or anywhere and they're called out, they will be able to use what they have been taught. Defense is where whenever they're fighting, whenever they're doing conventional training, this way they will be able to fight by out of trenches fighting against the enemy.
But while these soldiers are out here training and performing at their best, there is always a possibility for casualty. With that in mind, a medical unit is set up at Base Camp Privacion. The makeshift casualty ward was equipped with bandages, oxygen, cold and flu medication, and other basic supplies. During the weeks of training, the responsiveness of this unit was put to the test twice.
One of them was had a pain, right? He was an asthmatic person and he couldn't take the pain no more, so we had to bring him in, put him on IVs and get him out of here quick so that he could see the medical officer in the airport camp, Ladeville. The other person, he was he had stone we found in the bladder, and we had to also casevac him because he was in pain and we couldn't deal with that situation out here.
Another group of soldiers also trained to deal with medical situations is the BDF band. The band, particularly visible during peacetime, is not without its duties during wartime.
We also have our war role, because if there's a time come that we need to answer the call to go forward, then our role should be as medics and first aiders and stretcher bearers. And this is very good because it gives the band people another incentive that they are not only here to play music. This is a good chance to let them prove themselves out there to see the condition of working out there as a soldier, not as a musician.
Put the casualty in a comfortable position, right?
By the end of this training, the volunteers will be prepared to serve shoulder to shoulder with regular BDF soldiers. Deidre Isaacs for News 5.